If you feel like you're not making much progress in your life and you're maybe spending too much time on your smartphone, then this video is for you. Spoiler alert. Did you see the movie called Leave the World Behind, where a small family goes out of town to get space and relax from the city life, and then the internet goes away and the satellites stop working and the planes and the boats start crashing down and into the beaches and stuff. And then the family man needs some help for his son, and he goes to a stranger and says, I don't have GPS. I don't have internet. I am a useless man. And when I heard the phrase, I was so scared. I got the chills because I was like, I think I am that person. And I think half of the people in the world are that person. Because we're so attached to the internet and our smartphones that we have kind of lost touch with reality, with how things should actually work, and with how us as human beings, our bodies, our minds should work. Did you know that on average a person spends 3 hours and 15 minutes on their smartphone, and 1 in every 5 people spends over 4.5 hours on their smartphone? That is 1/5 of their day, 1/5 of their, or my life, I should say as well, because I have been that person as well. I will link that survey below so you can check it out more. And that is a really scary statistic because those 4 or 5 hours a day, they make us feel numb. They make us feel like robots. They make us feel like we are lazy, like there's something wrong with us, like we're not enough, like we don't know enough, we don't do enough, we don't feel enough, whatever that might be. So many people are trapped in watching reels or videos thinking that there's something they still don't know in order to start something they really want. They have some goals, they have some dreams. I'm those people as well, but they don't start because they feel like there's still something that they don't know. And I know that it's very scary to start something new. Look at me, I'm doing it right now. And this will be a topic of my next video. But I know that this is a trap for so many people that we just consume, thinking that I will find out this little clue or this little tip and then I will start, then everything will change. But that doesn't happen. We just get trapped in this cycle, in this loop of getting new information and consuming and consuming. On the other hand, a lot of people are using their apps because they have like social needs. They feel like they need to be in touch with people all the time. They need to be available all the time, or they feel like they just need an escape from reality, from their life, from the depression, the anxiety they have, or the thing I just talked about, not starting. So you get on your phone, you feel good, you get that dopamine hit that everybody talks about that much, and you feel good, but then kind of also don't, because when you get off of it, you don't feel better. You don't feel like you feel like maybe something is even missing in your life. And when you consume your phone or the internet so much, you feel like life is like meaningless. Maybe even for me, I did feel like my life is meaningless for such a long time. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't have depression. I did used to have it, but I don't have it anymore. And now I was like, so what's wrong with me? Like, why am I still not working on my goals? I'm like a woman in my 30s. I have a lot of education. I have a lot of experience. I have a lot of a big network. What's happening? What's the thing? And then at one point I figured it out. It is my phone. It is the internet. Remember when you were a child and you were in awe of everything? Everything was new and exciting for you. You wanted to do and try new things, and you didn't think about what other people would think about you. You didn't think what they would think if you failed, because you didn't think about failing. You just wanted to try. You wanted to know what it feels like when you actually succeed. Imagine when a child starts to learn walking, and when they first fall down, they would think like, I'm never gonna do this again because it's so hard, so difficult. These people are laughing at me, or what do they think about me? where would we end up like this? Like, we as humans are meant to be evolutionizing in that way. We're supposed to try and try and try until we get better at things, until we actually succeed. And I think that due to the use of smartphones and the internet nowadays, we have lost contact with how hard things are actually supposed to feel until we actually succeed at them, because we get so much good feelings out of this little thing that you're probably watching this video from, that we lose contact with how many times we would have to feel this uncomfortable feeling until we actually succeed. For example, learning the piano. When you first put your fingers on the keyboard, you don't know what you're doing. It doesn't necessarily even sound good. And to be as good as any pianists out there, you would need to practice hundreds and thousands of hours to actually make sense how the keys work and how they would work together to produce good sounding music. So if you have goals or dreams or little things you want to strive towards, and you feel like the usage of your smartphone is getting in the way of it, then the next tips I'm going to share are going to help you a lot, because I know that they have helped me. And if you also feel that you have used your phone so much, or you've been like losing contact with reality so much that you're afraid to even dream or have goals, because I have been that person, then one of my next videos is also going to be about that. So stick around. Now let's get into the tips that are going to help you use your phone less and work more towards on your goals. And I know that they're going to work for you because they have worked for me. So the first thing to start from is to actually find out how much time are you spending on your smartphone. So open up Digital Wellbeing or something similar on your smartphone, and there you can see how many hours you're spending on the phone in total, and how many hours, hopefully minutes, you're spending on different apps. And you can see that for the past days as well. So it might be a shock for you. Maybe it's 3 hours, maybe it's 6, maybe it's 10. However much time that is, it's probably too much if you're watching this video. So set yourself some kind of a goal that you would want to achieve. For example, if you are doing 5 hours, you only want to do 3. Or if you're doing 3, you maybe want to get down to 1, if that is possible. The next tips I'm going to talk about are going to help you do just that, help you limit using the apps. But in general, I would recommend checking every evening or every morning how much time you spent on the last day on your phone, to get more mindful and to understand what's behind your behavior. Why are you spending an hour on Instagram? Why are you spending 3 hours on YouTube? Are they actually contributing to what you want to achieve, or do you actually even want to achieve something? Are you there just for no reason? Are you just numbing yourself? Are you escaping from something? If you have any goals that you want to actually achieve and you find that you are escaping from achieving those goals, then I have a video coming up about that. But in general, I would recommend doing like an analysis for a week or 2, maybe even a month, to actually understand why you are using those apps, what you are doing there, and does it help you with something, or are you just escaping? So the second step would be to set app timer limits. Check your app usage and decide how much time you would actually want to spend on those apps. You should be able to do that on all of the smartphones. Set 15 minutes or 30 minutes max, I would recommend, because in the beginning it might be hard depending on how much time you actually are on those apps. But set a limit that you would be comfortable with. Like, for example, if you spend 2 hours on Instagram Reels, then set it to 1 hour. Just so you could get used to the idea of not being there so much. And then you get a reminder, like probably 10 minutes before the hour is up, of telling you that the time is up, and you just need to resist the urge to add more minutes. But there is a limit to how much minutes you can add, so then you would have to go back to the settings and change the settings if you want to keep using the app. So just try to resist the urge. Put the actual limits on the app usage, so you would be aware of how much time you actually want to use the app, and you want to make more space and time for the life out of your smartphone or your internet. And what to do with that time, I will also discuss in another video. So the third thing that I also use is grayscale mode. I do that because I see that all those shiny photos and HD and 4K videos, they also feed into our dopamine hit and the hedonistic feeling of wanting to look at beautiful and shiny objects. So when I put on grayscale mode, I feel like I don't want to watch those videos as much because they're dull, they are boring. And so when I have grayscale mode on, I don't use my apps that much. You can set your app on grayscale mode on every smartphone, I think, and I recommend 24/7. But if you need to do some work stuff on your phone, like for me example, sometimes when I post videos on Instagram, I want to see how those colors look like, I can take it off. But also I have put on some triggers on the apps so that when I open Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, it sets the phone immediately on grayscale. So I can of course turn it off if I want to, but it also is a reminder for me that, yeah, I want it to be in grayscale because I don't want to use this app so much. So I also recommend setting triggers for all the apps that you know that you are using too much, and maybe putting them on grayscale helps. But overall, 24/7 grayscale is the best option. So the fourth tip that I use is having modes in general. I have work mode and sleep mode, but you can set up how many modes you want and how many triggers you need for that mode. For example, for work mode, I have set up a location that when I go to my office, then it sets up work mode, which for me means that I have restricted the usage of social media apps and YouTube, so I would actually get some focused work done and wouldn't start scrolling on Instagram or YouTube when I feel like I'm bored, or usually not when I'm bored, but when I feel that something that I need to do is actually difficult. So I'm limiting all my social media apps and all my media apps in general. And with sleep mode, I have set it to trigger when it's 10 o'clock, but I think I should put it to 9. So what that means, it also restricts the usage of all of the apps that I don't want to use, so I could actually focus on the most important things in the evening, which would be winding down, reading, meditating, maybe doing some stretches, drinking tea or whatever, journaling, but not being on my phone. So I suggest you check out your options for setting up modes and play with it. Make it fun, make it work for you. So the fifth tip might be very, very difficult for some people, and you guessed it, it's taking the notifications off. I think that was the first thing I ever did on my smartphone to limit my smartphone usage. It's because I'm a very introverted person, and I saw that when I got all the notifications that it affected the way I worked, it affected my flow of thinking, and I saw that I was very attached to my phone and attached to all of the apps and the people that I am in communication with. So if you feel you can't turn off all the notifications at once, maybe you can at least try with taking off the sounds of those notifications so that it wouldn't trigger all the time. You wouldn't hear the sound, and you wouldn't, like for example, if you are working, if you actually want to achieve a goal at work or individual goal, then it's not very good for your brain to have all these distractions, and the notification on your phone is a very huge distraction, especially when you actually go and open the phone and you open the app and you actually want to reply your person, or you want to just see what the notification is about. So my recommendation is to turn off notifications in general. Usually I know that many people can't do that for especially the social media apps, for where you are actually communicating with people on your Messenger, on your Instagram or your X, but you can do it. I mean, I was so attached to the notifications before, I thought that I can't do it, but I have actually, how to say, trained my friends or my people to understand that I'm not going to be available all the time, and that is also a good example for them, that they don't have to be available all the time as well, because usually the stuff that people write to you about on Messenger aren't that important that you need to reply right away. Like, the most important things usually still are done via actual calling. I recommend you try turning off your notifications at all, and then try and check your phone like every half an hour or maybe even less. Like, I know that this is going to be very hard for you if you have all the notifications for every app, but maybe limit like some of the apps and see how that goes, and then just take it on from there. Maybe you limit one app a day or whatever. You can set it up very easily. When you have a notification on your app, you just press on the notification and then it should pop up that you can stop getting notifications. Or if you can't, then just go into your settings. But this is one of the major things that I see that really helps, because we are so distracted with all of those distractions from our phone, that the flow of thinking that we should actually have for achieving a goal is so limited, is so short, that you actually feel like you can't accomplish anything. You need a proper time to think, to evolve your thought, to actually concentrate, to focus, to get something done. And when you get all those beeps or vibrations all the time, then you're not going to get to your goals that fast. So try it and let me know how that works for you. And the sixth tip would be to be mindful about how you use your phone, because the apps themselves are not the only things that are, let's say, dangerous to us, but the way the apps are built together is also dangerous. Have you noticed, for example, that when you open up Spotify to put on a playlist when you start working, and then you see that your favorite band has come out with a new album, and then you open up the album and then you listen to it, and then you think about, maybe they have a video as well, and then you go onto YouTube and then you check out their new video, and then you see all these recommended videos for you, and then you're like, I should watch this video for my work, of course, I need to develop myself. And then you're stuck in this loop, and then you see the video and then you're like, I should research this, I should Google this, and then 2 hours later you're like, how did that happen? I think we've all been in that loop, and it is not a good one. So the apps are built in a way that we wouldn't ever want to leave our smartphone, so we have to be very mindful about it. So just take a moment, take a second and think like, how did I get here? Why did I get here? Do I actually want to be here? And does it have anything to do with my goal that I actually wanted to achieve when I first opened my phone? Like, I opened my phone to go on Spotify, to put out working music and then starting to work, but I didn't. I was on the phone for 2 hours searching for other self-development videos that I don't actually really need. What I do need is to actually start working, which will be the theme of my next video as well. And to not make this video very long, the seventh and the last tip for now is to not take your phone with you everywhere. Maybe when you go out walking, you don't need to take your phone. Like, if you live in the place you've always lived, what's gonna happen if you don't take your phone with you? Usually there's never gonna be an emergency that you need to reply to in 5 minutes. Or if you take it with you, then you might have the urge of checking it or like being on the phone and walking. But that is not walking, that is being on your phone while walking. Like, you get so many good, fresh ideas when you're not on your phone. Like, if you need to take it with you on your walk, then take it with you, but keep it in your pocket. Just do it. And then see what good new ideas you find when you look at the people, the trees, the buildings, whatever, where you were at. Also, don't take your phone to the toilet with you. I know many of us, I know I have done that lots of times. I fell into the trap before where I thought that I'm not using my phone as much at all, so I'll take it with me to the toilet because that will be the only time I will actually use it, but that is BS. That is not true, so be mindful of what you do and how much you use your phone. Because when you're on the toilet doing whatever we need to do on the toilet, you should only be doing that. You should be concentrating on that. And when you go for a walk, you should be concentrating on walking. And when you cook, you should maybe also concentrate only on cooking. Or maybe sometimes listen to a very good video that you were actually gonna use after you watch it. But then when you're eating, eating is supposed to be a very mindful thing. We should be eating with our eyes first and then with our mouths. So it's very important for our eyes to see what we're actually going to consume, because then it knows how to create all these enzymes it needs to digest the food. So eat with your eyes first. Look at what you're actually putting in your mouth. Don't be scrolling on your phone while you're eating. And who knows, you might get a few good ideas while doing it, because new ideas usually emerge from not consuming, but from having some free space in your mind. And that happens when you're not consuming new information. So the last thing I want to say before I wrap up this video is that I know that it is going to be uncomfortable to do all those things. Maybe you can't do all those steps at once. Probably you can't. But if you can, leave a comment below and let me know that you can, or that you are maybe already doing all of them. It is probably going to be overwhelming, so maybe you just start with one and then take the other step the week after or 2 weeks after. I recommend, if you don't do any of those things, I recommend coming back to this video in a few weeks or a few months again to remind yourself what are the good tips and healthy ways to stay less on your phone and more in the actual real life with actual people, with the actual surroundings that will give you so much more than the trap of the internet that we are all in sometimes. So, and if you have any other tips that I didn't recommend but you know that is very useful for you, leave a comment below so other people watching this video can also get some new tips. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!